Hello everyone and welcome to the Anime Zillia and to a new era within the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise. That's right, in this video we'll be going over episode 1 of the new Yu-Gi-Oh series known as Yugioh SEVENS. And overall I really enjoyed this episode. It gave me vibes from like the shows of 5Ds and Zexal, and most of my doubts before watching this episode have all but been removed because I thoroughly enjoyed watching this first opening episode, as I found myself laughing and just having a fun time. It's a really cool show, despite what the visuals may entail. And bear in mind, it could be a lot darker than you might initially think. And in this video, I'll be explaining why I think that might be the case. But first of all, let's talk about the intro. Before watching this, I had heard mixed thoughts and reviews about the music used for this intro, and I hadn't listened to it myself. I just wanted to wait until the episode actually dropped. And I can say with certainty that I can see why people would be a bit hesitant about this music, but when paired up with the visuals, you have a super jolly and lively intro that does its job perfectly. Now, what do I mean by doing its job perfectly? Well, we know that this show is targeted towards the younger audience, meaning that the intro has to be fun, inviting for that younger audience, so they're more inclined to watch the show further and get into it a lot more. Plus, if you factor in the fact that Yuga's character, in this opening episode, is basically all about having fun, not being suppressed or chained down, then this intro fits the bill perfectly when displaying what Yuga wants as a character. He wants everyone to have fun, he wants everyone to be jolly, he wants everyone to be free. And this intro shows exactly that. Now, just because we don't see someone struggling or breaking within this intro, does not mean that the show itself isn't going to be a serious one or have any dark turn of events. Just look at GX's opening, for example. That was an absolute banger of an opening, and yet we had a more serious tone towards the end of it. Plus, Zexal, another intro that was very chilled and friendly, but still had a more serious and darker storyline underneath all of that jolly and happiness. So we could still see that kind of darker theme appearing within this show after we get some lighthearted comedy. And seeing the Goha Corporation in this intro helps to establish that they might be the main villains. Now, it could also be another character that appears at in one segment of the intro, just looking out of his window. However, if it is the Goha Corporation, then one thing that really interested me about this was that they show multiple layers of the company. Now, this could signal that, it could be like a video game almost, where you complete one boss, you get another one, and so on and so forth, and you keep going up until you get to the main villain. And the Goha Corporation could be after something or someone, and each time a layer of the company is beaten, a brand new and stronger one replaces it. Plus, is it me, or does the people behind me wearing these masks, do they look like the Obelisk Force? I don't know, that's just the kind of vibe that I got. And with Rush Duels being able to summon 3 monsters at once, all you gotta do is save your 3 monsters for one turn, or save 2 of them at least. And you can summon Obelisk Tormentor. Obelisk Force... No. Okay, fine. Moving along, the penalty system. Now, this is a very scary system to see within a kids show like this, especially to parents and the older audiences like myself, as we know that something like this could lead to some seriously bad after effects for the characters if they get all 6 penalties. We don't know what happens when they do, except that they get logged out of the system. They might get taken away, or they might get a punishment. However, to a child watching this show, or the younger audience I should say, this could just be the same as being put on the naughty step. Oh, you got 6 penalties, you can't duel anymore, na 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 na. However, I think this is a very smart decision to do, as it gives us as the older audience something to look forward to if we see a character get these 6 penalty points, as it adds more drama and more dramaticness to the actual episodes and the actual duels themselves if they become a high-stake thing. Now, my one concern about this, though, is that this could become a I have an Ignis effect. And that basically means that if you look back at Vrains, any character that had an Ignis and would have that Ignis taken away from him once they lost, never lost. And basically, I don't want it to get to a point where Yuga, or one of the main characters of this show, has 5 penalty points, and they're in a tough situation, but they're guaranteed to win because they're the main character, and they can't get to that 6th penalty point. This has already started to happen, though, with this episode, as we see Yuga versus Hollow Man, and, we knew that Yuga wasn't going to lose this duel because, obviously, he needs to continue dueling. So that's just one nitpick I have about the system that I'm really hoping it doesn't turn into. But at the end of this episode, all the penalties get reset. Now, if that applies to everyone within the universe of this series, then some really bad, nasty people can come in. Much like hackers and duel hunters could be brought back into the show, and this could be where our villains come into play, giving us that more serious kind of vibe. Now then, let's talk about the characters. First of all, Romin. And shippers, just hold on for a minute and let me talk about the fact that she has photos of Yuga on her phone and what that could mean. No, this does not mean she's in love with him. In fact, I believe it's more the fact that she's interested, intrigued, and maybe respects him to some degree. She wants to see where his vision and where his dreams will lead himself and others too, so she kind of admires him from a distance and wishes to see his journey as it plays out. Maybe she has a dream of becoming a reporter as well as like a successful guitarist, and she wants to report on the story of how Yuga changed the world of dueling at a very young age. Who knows? As we know as well, she doesn't like dueling, but it's clear to us as the viewer from the intro that she has a monster in that intro. So maybe she shares the same thoughts as Yuga and ideals and thinks that the modern type of dueling is way too long and too complicated. That's why she doesn't like the dueling. Plus, remember, she's 11 years old, meaning the idea of love and knowing what that feeling is like probably isn't in her database, or in her brain, or in her personality. So she's obviously she's just interested and respects him. So don't go jumping to any conclusions about shipping or any kind of, weird, wonderful things like that. But you're free to do whatever you like. Just be careful. Now, I really do like her design. She has a nice smile, and that wink in the intro is really cool as well. She has a wonderful voice actress that does a brilliant job for her character. We do see her crying in the intro, so this tells me that something must have happened to her in the past, or something will happen to her. And I'm very intrigued to learn more about this character, and I'm interested to see where they go with her. Hopefully they do the female character of the Yu-Gi-Oh series justice this time around. Now, the Student Council President. This is how I'm going to be referring to this character when I do my reviews, because I can't pronounce that name, and people don't like it when I mispronunciate names in my reviews. So, Student Council President. If this character stays the comic relief, then I'm okay with that. I found this character to be very funny, and yes, he is a bit over the top, but it still works very well. He's obviously a character that likes to be on the side of good, and he likes to stick to the rules. So, him freaking out over one penalty point may seem like a big deal, but it's very true to his character. He's probably someone who wants to be, upstanding. He wants people to respect him. He wants people to know that he is serious. So, he's obviously complaining about that one point and panicking about it because it might ruin his reputation. Maybe if he gets that, he's not allowed to be Student Council President anymore. You got to bear that in mind. So, with all that being said, this character, he looks plain. His design isn't that great, but it fits the character nicely. It's meant to be smart and presentable, and that's what it is. However, I think he's very intriguing. I like the voice actor going forward, and I'm interested to see how it goes. And it gives us a different approach to a character that we haven't really seen before. And if it means that the main protagonist is less comedic, but this character is more comedic, then I'm happy with that and having him as a Joker. So, let's see where this character goes. Now, another character with a very hard name to pronunciate, Tatsuhisa Kamijo. Anyway, the translation says Luke, so that's how I'm going to be referring to him for the foreseeable future. However, I have a small crack theory about this character, and here it is. So, this guy wants to become Duel King. Sure, whatever. But what interests me the most about this character for this episode was the amount of penalty points he has, plus his special ability. Now, if you add in the Go-Hop Corporation, maybe when you get all 6 penalty points, they take you away to their sort of like bases or premises for basically punishment or experimentation. Now, we know they monitor everything within the city, so if they experiment on people, maybe it's because they know they have latent potential, and maybe they're trying to bring that out. And maybe this is what happened to this character, as he isn't fully able to control his ability. As we saw in this episode, he can only use the ability to turn off machines twice, and maybe that is considered a reject. So that's why he's out of the Go-Hop Corporation, but he has been there, he has been experimented on, and, maybe that's what we're going to learn in the future episodes about this character. Maybe he is a child experimentation of some special ability and effects. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't shy when it comes to experimenting on children. Just look at what happened with Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. So, this is a crack theory. It probably doesn't hold any evidence to it, but is a little bit of fun to think about. And if it's true, then obviously it's a lot more darker than we initially thought. But overall, I thought this character was okay. Hopefully we see him duel soon. Like, he looks like the main rival. His ace monster looks probably the best ace monster that we've seen so far, just judging by what we've seen in the intro and for the advertisement. But all in all, let's see where he goes. Let's see if he develops more, and hopefully he's not a jabroni. Now, Yuga. First of all, I like the voice acting of this character. One of my main concerns was the voice acting work, and honestly, he smashed out the park. The voice actor did a great job in this episode. It goes well with the character's personality, and it isn't bad. It reminds me of Yugio's voice a little bit more, but then the personality of Yuga reminds me of like a combination of Yusei and Yuma. As we know, he wants to create a place where people are not restricted and they can just enjoy themselves. Much like Yusei, he wanted to free the people of Satellite and give them a better lease of life. And then we have obviously the bit of goofiness and a bit of immaturity, much like we had from Yuma in Zexal. Design-wise, I think it's a little bit lazy, but it does fit the art style and would appeal to the younger audience, so I'm not going to criticize it too much. But based off this episode, he's an okay character. He's not the best main character that we've seen so far, but it's only been episode 1, so I'm not going to judge him too harshly, and we just have to see how he develops moving forward. But saying that, I'm hoping Yuga gets a new ace monster after, a bit of time in the series, because I'm not a fan of Rhodes Magician. Like, just look at the design. It looks really weird, and it looks like it doesn't fit. Like, it looks like one of those weird archetypes that some one-time duelist, like Hart from Zexal, or, you know what I'm talking about, like googly eyes. It looks like a monster that doesn't fit a main character. Now, with every new Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, we get a new summoning method and mechanic, and Sevens is no different, as we now have rush duels. And, so, rush duels, I do want to quickly say that this episode makes me like the characters a lot more, but the rush dueling aspect, I don't know, it's not really something I can get behind that quickly. Now, I know it's the first episode, so I will give it time to kind of give us more information so we can learn more about it. However, it just has not sold me on the idea just yet. Summoning 3 monsters in one turn, yeah, that's okay. We can see some different combos in the future based around them summoning a monster. I don't think that we're going to get other summoning methods like Synchro, Exceeds, Definitely not getting pendulums. Or Link, definitely not. Maybe fusions could come in the future, but I think that's all we're going to get, and maybe ritual cards as well. But the one thing that I have issue with is the drawing aspect. You're allowed to draw cards up to having 5 cards in your hand. So if you have 0 cards in your hand, you then get to draw 5 cards. And to me, this just seems like a way for the writers to make up some way and to make it easier for themselves to have a certain character win in a way that doesn't feel realistic. Just like we see in this episode, Yuga has no cards in his hand, and yet he draws 5 cards. All of a sudden, he's able to overcome Blue Eyes' attack points with a monster that has 2,100 attack. Plus, he's able to get 4,000 attack more than Blue Eyes' in order to basically win the duel in one turn. This doesn't seem very realistic in a real-life situation format, and it just, I don't know, it just feels a bit cheap, if I'm honest with you. However, this could be some good development for Yuga in the future, as he may realise that his actions over a period of time could have some issues. Like he might start losing loads of duels because of this rule of having 5 cards to draw from. Or, he might find that it doesn't actually suit, or it takes away too much of the fun. Meaning that he could develop as an inventor and he'll become more cautious before creating his next invention next time or adding a rule set next time, allowing him to have some development as that inventor and as a character. That'd be an interesting route that they might take, and I think it would be pretty cool to see. However, all in all, I thought this was a really fun way and a good way to kick off a new era of Yu-Gi-Oh! And to kick off Yugioh 7s with some good character introductions, some good comedy, and I can't wait to see more. Honestly, I want to know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. Hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you're new so you never miss a video from me. And until next time, I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you then. Arigato, matane.